Hi, my loves, welcome back to my channel. Thank you so much for tuning in today. So, in this video, we'll be making this beautiful short pencil dress with balloon sleeve. We'll be using this beautiful flowered material for this. I'll use elastic band and this zipper. I have two kinds of chalk here, and I'll be needing my scissors and my ruler. So, the first thing we are going to do is to fold this fabric into two using our bust measurement. Make sure you fold the stretchy part for your horizontal measurement. Okay, so this is my fabric folded into two, and I'm just going to pin it down so it doesn't move around much. So I marked out my shoulder line, and on that shoulder point I'm going to mark my shoulder measurement divided by 2, which is 7 inches. After I do that, I'll mark my neck width, which is 3 inches, and the neck depth of 3 inches. Okay, this is the front pattern we are marking first. So I'll just connect from the neck width down to the neck depth. I had a lot of challenges marking on this fabric. Anyway, so I marked out my shoulder slope from the shoulder line, which is 1 inch, and I connected that to the neck width. And from that shoulder slope, I'll mark my armhole measurement, which is 7 inches, and I'll mark that straight. Okay, so I'm going to mark the shoulder measurement right here again so I can get a straight line. Then I'll connect to the armhole. I have done that, and next I'm marking my waistline, which is 8 inches from the shoulder line. Okay, like I said, I had so much challenges marking on this fabric with the chalk, so I'm just going in with my white chalk. So from the waistline, I'm marking 8 inches downward for my hip line. Okay, so this is my hip line, this is my armhole, and this is the waistline. Okay, on the armhole or the bust line, I'm going to mark my bust measurement divided by 4. Okay, and on the waistline, I'll mark my waist measurement divided by 4 as well. So right here on the hip line, I'll mark my hip measurement divided by 4, and I'm going to add 1 inch seam allowance to all the points, to the hip line, to the waistline, and to the bust line. Okay, I'm just adding my seam allowance. After that, I'll just connect this point to meet the waistline and down to the hip line of this dress. After doing all of that, I'm going to move this fabric, so I'll show you. Then I'm going to mark out the full length I want for the dress. So this totally depends on what you want, how you want your dress to be. For mine, I marked 38 inches for the length of my dress, and I'm going to transfer the measurement I have on the hip line to the hip line. At this point, I noticed that I did not connect to the seam allowance I added on the hip line. So I'm just connecting the 1 inch I added for the seam allowance on the hip line. So I'll take the entire measurement I have there, and I'll mark it on the full length of the dress, and I'm going to go in by 1 inch. You know, this is a pencil dress, so I just marked 1 inch inward, and I'll connect to the hip line. If you're a very curvy person, you can go in by 1.5 on the full length of the dress. Okay, so after doing that, I'll curve out all the lines. So now that all the measurements have been added, we're going to curve the armhole of the front. So I marked the middle, and on that point I went in by half an inch, and I'm just going to find the curve for my armhole, and I'm just going to cut out the front of our dress. After cutting it out, this is what I have for the front. So beautiful. I'm going to use this to cut out the back panel. Okay, so this is what I have. I'm going to fold it into two, then use it to cut out the back. So the difference between the front and the back is that the back has a zipper, so I added 1 inch for zipper allowance, and the neck depth for the back is 1 inch. Meanwhile, for the front is 3 inches. Okay, so that's basically the only difference. Although the armhole for the back is not as deep as that of the front, you all know this already. So I just split the back panels into two. So right here I have the two pieces for the back panel. This is one of it, and this is the second one of it. Our dress, our patterns are almost complete, and I have the front pattern for the front right here. Okay, so the next thing I'm going to do is to show you how to cut out the balloon sleeve. So I'll be using this fabric to cut out the sleeve. First thing, I'm going to mark the shoulder line. Okay, and from there I'm going to mark the length I want. This totally depends on your preference. Okay, you're going to mark the sleeve you want. For mine, I use a 3/4 sleeve. So if you want it to be long, just take your measurement and mark out what you have. Okay, so I marked out my cap's height. Sorry, the chalk played with me at this point because you can barely see what I'm doing, but I'm just marking out the sleeve. I marked the length, mark the cap's height, and I'm just covering from the edge of the fabric to the cap's height where I inserted my bicep measurement. Okay, on the opening of the sleeve, you can also decide what you want. For mine, I marked out about 12 inches, and that's basically what I use. Folded in two, I marked out 12 inches, and I'm just connecting from the sleeve opening down to the cap's height line I have, and I'm just trying to make sure the chalk shows, even though it ended up not showing very well. But if you don't understand what I'm doing, I have a sleeve tutorial. You can just scroll down on my videos, or I will leave a link so you can watch the video. So this is what I'm using for the sleeve. As you can see, the lower part is very big, and I'm going to add an elastic band to it. So this is what I have for the sleeve. This is the upper part, and this is the lower part of the sleeve. I'm just going to take the measurement of the opening I have for you to see. So right here I have 24.5 inches. Okay, so right here is the front of the pattern of our dress. I cut out an interfacing to turn out the neckline. Okay, and I'm just going to pin it down. This is the front panel, and this is the interfacing. I'm going to pin all around the neckline so that when I take it to the sewing machine, it's easier for me to sew. I just pin all around, and I'll take it and stitch. For the sides, the back side, I also cut out an interfacing, and I'm also going to pin it to the neckline of the back, and I'll also take it to the sewing machine. The last part of the back, I did the same thing. I'll take it to the sewing machine, stitch, flip to the other side, do a top stitch and flip it inwards, and at the end of the day the neckline will lie nice and flat, just like you're seeing here. I have attached the interfacing to the neckline of our dress, and this is what I have. For the back panels, I did the same thing as well, as you can see. So when I stitched on it, I flipped towards the interfacing and I made a top stitch that will help the neckline to lie nice and flat. So what I'll do next is to align the neckline and the shoulder line, and I will stitch the facing to the facing of the back to the facing of the front, and the two armholes together. I mean the two shoulders together, and then I'll do the same to the other side. Okay, just align it on the neck, on the shoulder like this, and stitch the interfacing to the interfacing and the shoulder to the shoulder, just the way I demonstrated before. And after that, I will close the side of our dress using my 1 inch seam allowance I added for this dress. Okay, after doing that, this is what I have. The sides have been closed, the shoulder has been stitched, and this is what I have. I have stitched the lower part of the back, and I left the part where I will add the zipper open. So the next thing I want to do is to take this to the sewing machine and sew my zipper to it. I really like that I use this white zipper. It made it so beautiful. So for the sleeve, I will just hem the casing I want, the elastic band casing. I'm going to stitch on it. Then I'll leave about 1 inch opening for where I will use to pass the elastic band. So guys, after doing all the things I told you I was going to do, this is what I have. I did a little bit of a pleat on the shoulder of the dress, and for the zipper, this is what I have. I told you I love this white zipper. It made the dress look so beautiful. I really do love it. And for the sleeve, I left the 1 inch opening I told you. I was going to leave, and I'm going to pass my elastic band through it. So you're going to take the measurement of where your sleeve is stopping. That's where the elastic will be, and whatever measurement you have there, minus 1 inch on that point, and use that measurement to cut out the elastic band that will be going through the 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 sleeve. Okay, so I'm just going to pin the elastic band so it doesn't get lost inside the sleeve, and then I'll stitch it when I take it to the sewing machine. Okay, so I'm going to do the same to the second sleeve. Through the opening I made, I'm going to pass the elastic band through and pin it so that it doesn't get lost. Don't forget to pin your elastic band down. If you don't, it's going to get lost and you give yourself double work. Okay, so now the elastic band is out. I'll just pin the two together, then I'll take it to the sewing machine, stitch it, and then close the opening I used to pass it inside. Okay, so after doing that, this is what I have. The elastic band is sitting pretty inside our sleeve, and look how beautiful and gorgeous this sleeve is. So now I'm going to show you how you can hold down the facing of your dress so that it doesn't come out when you wear it. So using your needle and thread, you're going to just try as much as possible to take as little fabric for the front panel as possible so that the thread doesn't show on the right side of your dress. So I'm just tacking this to the front panel of the dress, and I'm going to do that all around the neckline of this dress. Okay, so once I'm done doing that, I'll just show you what it is. So in case you don't know how to tack around the neckline of your dress or to hold your facing down, this thing I'm doing here is what you should go ahead to do. So guys, this is what I have. I'm going to continue doing this until all the parts of the facing has been stitched nicely on the dress, and I'm going to make sure the thread doesn't show on the right side of the dress. After I was done doing that, I removed the pin I used to hold down the neck, and this is the dress, guys. If you have not subscribed to my channel at this point, please go ahead and subscribe, and also give this video a huge thumbs up. So as always, I decided to throw the dress on to show you how it fits perfectly well on my body. You can see the back, the zipper, there's no budge, no nothing. It looks so good. And the sleeve, I decided to take it up, and you see I can take it up, and I can also leave it down. So let me know which one you prefer. Is it the shorter sleeve or the longer sleeve? So thank you so much for watching this video till this point. Until next time, do have a lovely day, and subscribe, like this video. Okay guys, bye.